think I've started the recording. Just a minute, please. Okay. So yes, good morning. I think on request of was it Moses? Is he on the call? Sorry, David Mugabe. Is he on the call?
He has not joined yet. He has another engagement. He said he would join later.
Okay, fine. So
yes, and please
I requested that we have a refresher with our colleagues from the insurance sector. Are these life or life insurance or general insurance?
I think it's a mixture of all.
Mixture of all.
Both life and
general. Yep. Okay, fine. So just a few elements. I think if there's need to, let's keep our mics muted so that we can benefit much from this session. I expect us to run till not beyond 12:30 p.m. And also probably at about 11, we'll take a 15 minutes break and then continue. So the topics for today is basically just a refresher on the system. I think it's majorly filing the reports. Is there any other area that you would need? Because I believe all of you have registered on the system, so I don't need to go through that through registration. But maybe the major part would be maybe to just confirm, does everyone have access to their test environment? Maybe we start with that. Is there anyone without access to their test environment? Because that's the environment we'll use for the practical session today. Okay, silence means you all have. So it's going to be a practical session. I'll request you now to proceed and log in to your test environment. Maybe I'll just ask one of us to give us an opening prayer, and then we can kick off the refresher session. Any volunteer? Okay, so let me just pick. There's no much later. Are you volunteering? Okay, seems muted. Yes, please.
Hello, Ivan.
Okay, James. Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for our jobs. And we thank you for gathering us together in this meeting. We pray that the knowledge we are about to get via this training is put into practical and implemented for the good of our jobs and for the good of our employers. We pray that we comply and do not breach. We pray for the good life and continue serving our country via insurance industry. I pray all this through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, James. Let me share my screen now. Okay, so like I said, in the event that you're being left behind or you have any question, you can just raise your hand and then unmute. They'll keep checking, but also my colleague team will keep checking. If there's you're leaving anyone behind, or if there's any question as we go along, and just raise the virtual arm, and then we can give you a chance to speak. All right, so I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, please.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, perfect. So I'll request you all to go to the FI website. And once there's a goAML menu, and I request that we go to the test environment. So you should have something like this. This is the goAML test environment. The production environment is for after submissions, so we'll expect you to utilize the test environment. So I'll ask once again, so that we don't leave anyone behind. Do we all have access to our test environment accounts?
I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, please.
I wanted to inquire, are we using the same logins?
It should be different, unless you use the same, but they're different. Most times they're different, but this it's two separate environments. We just a separately, so if you use the same credentials, then they'll be the same. If you have different ones, then they'll be different.
So does it mean that I have to request for a password reset? Because I tried to log in.
Which insurance is that? Jubilee. Let me just check.
Right.
Jubilee Life, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, what's your username?
I Nalubega.
Okay. Password has been reset. I think the email is matchlet.naluvega. Sorry, matchlet.naluvega@jubileeuganda.com. Is that correct? Matchlet?
It's Ivan.
Okay, yeah, so password has been reset to that. Anyone else with access issues?
You've reset me.
Yes, you should have got a
Eh,
reset link to your
Yeah.
email.
My email.
Tito here. I am also having challenges accessing
Okay, which insurance?
the test environment.
Which insurance?
Liberty General.
Okay. I only have Liberty Life Assurance on the test. Oh. One account belongs to Davis, the other one to Raymond.
Yeah. Data we have it enrolled on test environment.
That means we either haven't registered there. So these are two different arms, Life and General.
Yeah, they're two different arms.
Okay, so have you registered on our production environment?
Yes.
Okay, so let's give you 10 minutes. Anyone else with a challenge, let's just give it 10 minutes. It's still, you can do a registration on the test environment. You just go to register like you did for production. Won't need you to attach anything, and then we can grant you access to test environment. Anyone else with challenges? So let's give it another 10 minutes, at least for Tito to catch up on that. Anyone else?
I also have challenges. I'm Patricia, Britam
Okay.
Insurance.
Britam Insurance or Britam Asset Manager?
Britam Insurance.
Okay, same. You have to register.
Okay.
Yeah, so register institution. We are giving that 10 minutes, then we approve, and then you'll have access. Okay, registering on the test environment. Anyone else?
Ivan,
Yes, please.
this is James from Minet
Okay,
Uganda Insurance Brokers. James,
insurance broker.
Minet Uganda Insurance Brokers.
Okay, registered in our production environment?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, so register us on the test.
What?
Register on the test environment. Same procedure. Yes. So we are giving it 10 minutes. Then we approve, and then we expect everyone to have an account. So just register.
Do we use the same credentials or?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Credentials to use are up to you. Or anyone else? The rest are okay. Okay, so 10 minutes and then we start. I'll give our colleagues a chance to ensure they have access to the test.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Lucky morning.
Morning, Francis.
How are you, sir?
Good. You've just joined?
Yes, I've just come in.
Okay. Welcome to the call.
Yes, Ivan, morning.
Yes, morning. I think our 10 minutes are done. I'll now expect everyone to start logging into the test environment and we proceed.
Okay.
Sorry, Ivan, I hear you people should have got into the test environment. Does that mean you should have logged in somewhere? I've just come in. Sorry about that.
Ivan? Mr. Ivan?
Yes, James.
I'm still having a challenge to, despite my.
If you've just registered, just wait for an email confirming that the registration is approved. Then you can log in.
Now, I don't know whether it will come to my.
Did you put your email? Because you register the institution and also register yourself. So an email should come to you.
And
Ivan, I think I'm facing the same. I don't know if I'm missing out on something.
Because I see Liberty and Britain. Those should have been approved.
Come on, I need some guidance.
Yeah, you must be formal.
Sir.
Yeah, I mean, service industry. Those branded shots can be on Friday. No.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
yes, this is Francis from Jubilee Health.
Yes,
My-
please.
You are providing return receipt.
A bit late in the evening, but it's Francis who at Jubilee Uganda.com.
Sorry, come again.
Yeah, they have.
My email was sent. I don't know if you received it.
No.
I'm not getting you because we are talking about the test environment. Do you have an account on it?
No, I don't.
So please register. Is it
On the
Jubilee
chat.
Life?
This is Jubilee Health.
Health. Yeah, you
Yes.
have to register
Okay. So
in the test environment. But in the interest of time, since we gave this exercise 10 minutes, you join us on the way as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah, so just register quickly. No, because now we have to start. We have 30 minutes, about 36 minutes in.
So that registration is on the chat? Where is
No,
it
no, no,
there?
no. It's on the test environment. Just go to our website
Oh,
under goAML test environment. The same way you registered on the production,
ah.
same way we expect you to register on the test. But of course, we don't need any attachments. We just need you to have access to a test account that we can use for this practical session. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So is the production environment? Let's see.
So let's proceed. How many of you are logged in to your test accounts by show of hands? Virtual hands, that is.
Thanks.
No one is logged in.
I'm logged in, sir.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
you said we are supposed to get an email.
I saw something for Liberty, so you can proceed to log in with your credentials.
Yes, for Liberty, I'm logged in already.
This
Okay.
is James. This is James making inquiries. You said we are supposed to be getting an email.
Yes, you haven't got any email?
I haven't got an email.
Did you put your email address there?
Yes, I did.
Okay, it should come, but I saw a
Minette,
registration.
Minette Uganda.
Minette, I hope you're
Minette,
registering
yes.
on the test environment. I don't see anything for Minette on production. I mean on test.
Yeah,
Are you on the test environment?
yes.
No, there's no registration for Minette.
Ah,
You registered as an individual or an organization?
as organization.
No, there's nothing. Please go to our website under goAML, then you choose goAML test environment. I hope that's where you went.
Yes.
There's nothing. There's no registration.
Ah, where did I go wrong?
Just ensure you go to the test environment, register, and then register an organization. The only registrations I saw were Brigham and Liberty General. Okay, let's proceed since we have a couple of us who have logged in. Like I said, if we are leaving you behind, you can just raise your arm. But those registering will get us on the way.
Ivan?
Hello, Ivan. What do I do?
Ivan is on mute, but maybe I can guide.
Okay, thank you,
If
Tito.
you guys registration.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. Thank you. I'm done. We registered a long time ago. I'm just wondering how I can log into the test platform.
Now there are two platforms.
Mm,
There is a live environment and a test environment. So I
yes.
don't know which one did you registered on which one.
We registered for fear to be accountable person.
Okay, now I think that was a live environment. You go back on the website under goAML link, look for test environment. You register afresh.
And I goAML. Okay.
goAML. On the drop down, you will
Which
see test
institution is that?
environment.
This is AR.
Don't think I've ever seen you on the test. So you have to register.
Okay.
Yeah. We're using the test for tryout purposes since the session is going to be practical. So you have to register there. All right, so let's proceed. I'll be proceeding to share my screen. Okay, so you should have a screen like this. For those that have logged in, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, you can see it.
All right, so the menu is brief. We have a section for the new reports, for submitted reports, for the message board, for stats, and also where you manage your user detail. Okay. So we're going to start off with how to file. We're going to look at majorly two report types, three majorly practically, then the others will make mention of them. We're going to start with how do you file an STR, and I'll request one of you to give us an example of what would be deemed suspicious in your sector. And then thereafter, we'll also look at how we can file large cash reports with us. We'll then just talk about what we mean by aggregated large cash reports and additional information files. But we'll also look at how to file a suspicious activity report. So those are the ones we're going to look at. I request one of you just take note if there's an area of concern that we may not cover or I may not touch, you can then let me know and then we can touch that. But our main focus today is going to be how to file reports and also registration. I haven't gone into that because we have guidelines on that. There's a lot of information on the website. Majority of you have registered with us before, so I didn't want to spend much time on that. So the main focus will be on filing of reports. So if you can just come to new reports, web reports. And here is where you choose the report type that you want to file. So in this case, we are going to choose STR. So are we together to that point?
Charles, can you find me that email we shared? It's with the schedule. It's with the jobs grades. Eh? That's what.
So are we together up to that point?
Because I want to get those email addresses.
Okay, so I believe so. So we go to create reports. And then we'll have a screen like this. Right, so the first element is the branch, and most of you indicate that it's coming from the head office. The report is coming from your head office. Then we have the reporting entity reference. This is basically a reference that you give just the same way you reference your letters or communications going out. So same way we expect you to reference these STRs just for your record that you submitted an STR 001, or it can be categorized by the year or month, whichever, depending on your referencing style. So where I'll need input is to come up with, I believe everyone here is aware of what suspicious transactions are. So I would also delve much into that because today's session is basically a refresher on the system itself. So I'll request one of you to give us an example of what you deem suspicious in your sector, and then we capture that. If there's no volunteer, then I'll just pick someone on the call. Any volunteer?
Can you hear me, Ivan?
Yes, a bit faint, but I can hear you. Yes, please.
Yes, Immaculate here.
Yes, Immaculate.
You can take a client canceling policy.
Okay.
Claiming that they were missold to. They were not interested.
Okay, so they invest in the policy and then they cancel it, usually after how long?
They're supposed to, there's a free look of, I think 1 month. However, like maybe like on verification by maybe the call center team, after the client has made their deposit, they say, no, I'm not interested anymore, but their money has already come in.
Okay, so let's go through this one together. Does everyone agree with that? Sounds
Yes.
fine to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So, first we'll need the name. Do they have client numbers? Do you have client numbers?
Policy numbers.
They're called policy numbers, eh?
Yes.
So do they open a policy or do they open with you?
They buy a policy.
Okay. Say they bought it in December. Say worth how much?
You mean their premium?
Yes,
Yes, we can say maybe 2 million.
no, I'm saying okay. So they
Their
opened the
monthly
policy.
premium. They bought a policy
Mm.
on 1st
Sorry.
December 2023.
With the premium.
Yes. With a
It's called the
monthly
month.
premium payment. Monthly premium payment of rejects 2 million.
Hey. And then they cancel it when?
Let's say maybe on 24th
Of December.
Yes.
Okay.
they come to one of our officers and request that their policy is cancelled.
Thank you, 23rd. Remember, you report these 24 hours. So you have a maximum of 48 hours to report this after forming suspicion. If something happened in December, I would really expect a report late December or early Jan after you formed suspicion. I hope you have transaction monitoring systems that help you identify this suspicion. So what do they request? To cancel the policy?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is this. The example I thought we were looking at is, okay, depending, but if someone came in with a large sum of money, let's say 100 M, and I don't know, they call it being fixed or those called unit trusts or something, where they fix the money there and then in a short time they take it back. That's the scenario I was looking at. But from here, you're saying I get onto a plan where I'm paying 2 million a month, and then within days I cancel this plan. What benefit do I have there? Do I get my 2 million back, which I've just deposited? What happens?
Can I add on?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, because the law now mandates that if someone has not utilized or has not been able to utilize any, there's no claim that has come in from their policy or isn't from their utilization, we have to give them back that money. So as long as they're on time, like she has said, they're on time, they've come within 1 month, and we can prove that indeed they're not utilized anything, we can give them back that money. So maybe the distinction is just in the amount being 2 million, but it could have still been 100. The issue is they made sure they brought their money, they bought the policy, but they ensured they did not utilize. After that time, before that period is done, they withdraw back their money, and that becomes suspicious.
Okay, so depending, if it's 2 million, would it be suspicious to you? Thank you, by the way, for the clarity.
Well, it wouldn't, but but because it's the risk is a bit minimal. Still,
Okay,
despite the fact it's still risky if you're very keen. Yeah.
Okay, but if the figure is high, then that's when it would.
It could even be that 100 million, and maybe it was maybe let's say 50 million, and it was their yearly premium. You know, premium can be any period. They choose monthly, yearly, or even full time. So maybe you can change it from maybe monthly. You can say maybe yearly premium is maybe 50 million. Yeah, maybe to make it a little. Yeah.
Okay, because say that their policy is cancelled. Do they have to give a reason?
No,
they can just, they don't have.
They don't have to.
So I can walk in and cancel. It's up to me.
Yeah, as long as you're within time and there's no utilization.
Okay. All right, so let's go with this example. Just a minute, I want to share a small document with everyone. Okay, a document I want, I've been able to get it, but I'll look for it and share it. Something to do with suspicious transactions in the insurance sector. But we can proceed. Usually, like you've said, by law, someone can cancel their policy. So there is no need to ask them why they are doing so. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so the action taken is usually the case where you're trying to find out why this happened. But in your case, because by law, they can just cancel.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
I don't know if this would also help to add on on the example she has given.
Okay.
Let's imagine the same client, John, did this in 2022 or 2020.
Oh,
Did this, we gave it to him without seeking the explanation. Again, he came and bought the same policy towards the same period of time. We gave it to him. We're in 2024, it's becoming a habit, or it's
a
becoming
habit. Okay. That would be a good example for suspicious activity. We'll look at that. Maybe you'll just remind me. We'll look at that in the sense of suspicious activity. I hope that's fine. But for this case, let's go with this.
Okay.
Yes. Then the other one could be you've noticed a pattern, so you're reporting what we call suspicious activity. So it's not a partial transaction that has ticked you off, but behavior over time. And that would be what we deem a suspicious activity. So let's keep that example for our next report type. Okay. This is suspicious transaction. So there's one transaction that came through that happened, which you're deeming suspicious and reporting to the FIA. So in the action taken, you could just say maybe you remitted back. I don't know what you call it. Do you pay out? It's called a payout. It's called a payout. What do you call it? When someone redeems their policy, is it a payout?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I actually sit near you and not walk to your office and say hi. Alex, okay?
Okay. So any questions here? Are there any people also trying out? There are those who I thought would be registering. I haven't seen any new registrations. Maybe you've decided not to. Francis Atiku, I think you're supposed to register as an organization, not as an individual. Okay. All right, so register as an organization, not as an individual. So Francis, need to do that. All right. Now we'll move to the attachments. At this point, it's where you pick the attachment. So here I will expect you to this is really not required. The attachments, category, identification, description, you can leave those. Okay, you can just indicate that we touched the national ID, and attach the policy document. Maybe the proof of payout. So those you can select files, pick them up here, and then attach them. Okay. Are you still seeing that? The what do you call it? The pop-up screen. Sometimes they do not show, but you can attach the different files there. We go on to indicators. These are what triggered your suspicion. So what triggered our suspicion in this case? And remember, this list is custom defined. So if there are indicators, suspicious indicators missing, you can then let us know and we add them in. But in this case, what do you think triggered our suspicion? Awfully quiet. I thought the essence of this refresh was to ensure that we all get onto the same page, but if interaction minimal, I don't know if we shall really benefit.
Ivan, kindly move slowly.
Okay.
The drop down.
You can also check it on your end if you're on that same page.
No.
Like I said, if there are areas here that are not included, then we can add them in for the insurance sector. Or some may be biased really to the financial institutions.
Yes.
Can I ask something, Ivan?
Yes, please.
On cash transaction, do we mean even transaction may be done in the bank or?
No, cash is if someone maybe came in with I don't know, huge sums of money in a bag to your branch, those kind of things. It's not a bank transfer. That's what we mean by cash transaction. But I know a number of your policies now, if you come with cash, it has to go through a bank. That's why a number of you now even have bank, I call them branches or outlets in your offices, so that none of your staff receives cash, but it's channeled through the payment platforms, either bank, mobile money, those kind of platforms. So this might really, but please take note of this area. If there are areas that indicators, I was trying to look for that document that has indicators and scenarios, especially for the insurance sector, so that we can include them here. Yeah, but I could probably now just go with manual identified, and then I can say maybe I think the guy is trying to do money laundering. You can go with those examples. All right, so we now go to the transaction bit. Are there some of you who are doing this practically? Because that's the essence. I really need you to try this out practically, because that's when you generate questions. If you're following on the screen, it looks quite simple. When you're doing practically questions you can raise. So anyone doing it practically together?
Yes, Ivan, I am.
Sorry, my mic was muted. I was saying we're going into now capturing the transaction. Just a minute. All right, so the element of transaction is one of those that, because of the data entry involved, really challenges a number of you. But what I was mentioning at the end of this session, I'm going to take you through how to download what you'd call an XML file that I would expect you to share with your technical team. And also I'll probably share what you would call the technical documentation that should be able to guide the teams in generating these transactions from your systems into this format, and you just upload so that you don't need to go through the data entry element always. Okay, hope that is clear. All right, so we're going to capture the transaction. Of course, we're going to say it's suspicious. If there's an agent involved, you indicate that. So at times it may be an incomplete transaction or a complete transaction. So in our case, we're going to say it's complete. And this is the transaction number that is generated. Once we effect the transaction, you can just put that placeholder. So here we are showing that 100. Is it that when I invest my 100M, I get back my 100M? You said if the law says if there's no utilization, I just get back the amount as it was. Is that it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so yeah, it's a wire transfer. So 100M is paid out. How long does it take you to effect it when someone requests? For example, this person requested on 23rd. Is it 2 days, 1 day? Hello?
Would take up to a week.
It'll take up to a week, eh? Okay, thanks, Francis. All right, so let's say since someone requested on 23rd, let's say payout was done maybe 29th. The description is the purpose of the transaction. So usually the money is moving from the institution. So we have these 3 areas, and the account element is usually used by the financial institutions. So the insurance sector usually deal with persons, your customers, and money usually moves from you, the entity, the insurance company, to your customer, or money moves from your customer to. So the system requires to know the source and the destination of funds. So from is the source, to is the destination. So from could be entity my client, and then to is the person, because it's a payout, the person my client. If someone was paying to the institution, money would be moving from person my client to entity my client. Let me repeat that. We expect you to indicate where the money is coming from and where it's going to. So where it's coming from, in this case, since it's a payout, would be from the entity. My client just simply means you have the KYC detail of the institution to a person who is your client. If someone is bringing money to the institution, then it would be from person, my client, to entity, my client. Okay. So from entity, it's an EFT. Let's say I'm moving too fast, please let me know. And so that we make sure everyone does benefit from this session. Okay. The commercial name, expect it to be the same. Insurance companies are usually private limited. And this is the incorporation number of your insurance company. Incorporation date, this is of course on the incorporation certificate. Okay, so this is the entity detail. We can skip all this and then we have the address. Then the contact information. Okay, so before I proceed, just to say, we have captured the entity's details, address information, the phone information. Now we are going to capture one of the directors, or maybe, yeah, one of the directors or the CEO, whichever. So we expect you to indicate one of your leadership in relation to the institution. Okay.
Would the AML CEO qualify here?
No, it has to be one of the leadership, either director or CEO. One of those. Yes, one of the decision. Let me put it this way: one of the decision makers. So after I've captured the entity information, this is your insurance company, address details, phone details. Then you can capture one of the director information here. Okay, so the name is really important. We'll expect you to have the name of the director. Their nationality is also important. Residence, if you have that. And basically that is it. So we just need the name, date of birth, the name, the nationality, and residence where applicable. You notice there are so many fields, but I would like you to concentrate on the fields that are applicable in terms of the information you have. So in this case, we may not have the address, because the address really is the same address as the office address. Yes. So we are probably just going to go with the phone number because the previous names, really emails, social media, identification, sanctions, additional information. We're going to leave all that. And maybe we just capture the person's phone details. So the mistake a number of you make is you start trying to capture all this, and then that's where the confusion starts. So only go to the sections which you have information on. Like I said, for the biodata, the NIN is important, date of birth and nationality. Okay. But after that, probably you have a phone number. If you have an address, put it. But the rest of these, if you have an email, you can also capture it. But the rest of these, if you do not have the information, then there's no need to click on there. Okay. So I'll just go back to the start. We now have the information on the insurance company and one of the directors. So where's the money going to? The money is going to our customer whom we spoke about here, called John Doe. So we can always click here to minimize the screen because it gets a bit big. And if you're working, you can always save the report so that a draft is made, just in case you know the reason, just in case there's an issue and power or connectivity. It's always good to have the saved copy. It will always appear in your drafted reports. So the money is going to person who's your customer. And here, this was Lando, I think. It's the person we paid out to. Once again, the nationality is key. Those three areas: nationality, residence, NIN. So once we have your names, birthplace, residence, NIN, that's key information. Your address information, this is also on your also on the national ID. So you must have this information. And also as an institution, I believe you capture it. Again, don't go into information that you may not have. Probably we can concentrate on the address and phone detail. There we are. We have completed the STR. So I'll just repeat this again. We captured the reason for suspicion, the action taken. What did we do after suspicion? We still had to pay out because it's required by law. But then we gave a reason for our suspicion and why we are filing it. And then we have attachments here. We expect the policy, maybe the national ID, and the instruction to the bank of the payment that was effected out. Indicate what ticked you off to have this as suspicious, and then the transaction details, the amount involved, the transaction ID, the description, purpose of this transaction. And then within there, money is moving from your institution to the customer. So we expect you to indicate the details of your insurance company, which is the company's information, contact information, address information, and one of your directors. Okay, where we just need the names, NIN, and maybe phone number. Thereafter, on the where the money is going, it's still your customer, but this time it's a person. So we expect you to indicate the person's name, national ID details, date of birth, nationality, residence, and the address. So the key things are address and phone numbers. That's what we usually mostly have. If you have an email, indicate that. But if you don't, it's not really required. So basically that is it on an STR. Any questions? Anyone who has tried it out, any questions there? Oh. Move on to how to file a suspicious activity report.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
now after reporting what happens, do you call that person and you begin interrogating them and you inform them who has really alerted you regarding the suspicious transactions? In fact, we would like also to know what happens after we've reported.
Okay, James, that's a very good question. First of all, I think it's in law. My colleagues on the call can guide with other, but it's in law, you're not supposed to tip off the person that we are going to report them. So we do not really interact with this person. If at all we need additional information in this investigation, we usually come back to you, the person who reported the institution, for additional information, and that's when we get back to you. In terms of feedback on where this has materialized, as you know, we administrative FIU. So if this materializes at times, it proceeds to investigation by law enforcement, or which then leads to prosecution. There are those sectors, or can I call them the arms, government agencies that are tasked with different parts of this. So if it is getting into there, definitely you would know. If it is gone on to law enforcement and all that. But if it stays with us, we get back to you on the information we need. And if we see it's a case that needs to be followed up by law enforcement, it then goes there. If it is not, then we close it at our end. But it's not really mandatory that we have to get back to you. The question is, you do your part. If it is suspicious, report it, because we have a compliance team that comes and checks compliance with the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And if they feel some of these transactions should have been reported as suspicious, they were not. Right now, there are penalties for this. So I'll just request you play your part. If you need feedback, you can always let us know, but we always let you know in the event that we feel this customer should be treated as high risk. We come back to you with that additional information.
Ivan.
Yes.
Ivan, sorry, we need to know, it is it's still a new thing altogether.
Okay.
Now, if I've reported,
yes,
and it materializes,
yes,
then do you after doing the investigation and it is true there is money laundering, in that case there is money laundering, do you take that person to court for prosecution, and if at all you take the person to court, at any one moment the entity that reported, is it called as a witness in that matter at any one time? Yeah, okay. That is my question.
With regards to court proceedings, that one I don't know if I have Mr. Ngovi online. I don't know whether he's listening in, if you can respond to that, especially on the court proceedings element. But in terms of, like I mentioned, if this is getting into prosecution or further investigations, there's law enforcement, police, and all those other arms, ODPP, that then get involved. Now that means the file has moved to that level. So I don't know whether you call that. I can't confirm to that. The best of my knowledge, whether they need you to come in. But as far as I know, once you've done your part, then it is carried on from there. And this person is notified if there is need for them to be notified. Okay. But I think Mr. Ango is not, but I'll raise before the end of the call. But I haven't seen scenarios where an accountable person is being called to be a witness, because you've submitted all the information. Once we need information, we'll come back to you for that information. And that's the information we need to form the case.
Maybe Ivan, I can give in some insight.
Okay.
Recently, the case that involved Bank of Africa, the
Yes.
AML CEO was actually in court, and yeah, they had, I think, they had to give in some kind of submission. So I think, and maybe you guys can still guide us, I think the accountable person would still have to be involved in that process. That's what I think. Okay.
I agree with Francis too.
Okay. Okay, but like I said, once you report, depending on the turns that the suspicion takes, if it materializes to a level of court, then like the example you've given, an MLCO is required, then so be it. But most cases that we have interacted with, once it starts, all we come back to you for is additional information, and it's passed on to law enforcement. The different turns that it takes are usually not really in our control. But I'd wanted someone with vast experience on this matter to share insight, Mr. Ngoi, but maybe before the end of the call, maybe we'll get to hear from him. So I'll just request my colleague Kim to keep that in mind so that we have a definite response. But yes, from the scenario given, of course, if court requires you to come and give information, then I think you'll be officially communicated to. Okay, so any questions on this before I submit it? So basically that is it on a suspicious transaction. So you just click the submit and then we get the report. And usually you get a notification on your message board here. We have this platform that we use for communications with you. I believe a number of you are registered on our production environment, do receive communications here. Various communications, either communication for additional information, or maybe communication from the authority on the directive, and any other information. We usually circulate it through this message board. So you're able to also communicate to us by just saying new message and type it out. Respond to our messages, etc. So, and usually once a message is sent, you get an alert that you should check on the message board for communication from the FIA. But it's also prudent that maybe each day you can check just if there's a communication that has come in as the MLCO. Okay, so I wanted us to look at the suspicious activity report. And the last will be the the large cache. So let's do the suspicious activity report. We'll have a 15 minutes break. Yes. And then we'll do the large cache transaction report. Okay. So, okay, just also to mention, when you save a report, while you're working on it, it comes under what you would call drafted reports. So these are the reports that you're working on, and probably something urgent came up and you saved it as a draft, you can always come back and work on it from here by clicking the edit button, and then you can proceed. Okay. Reports that are sent to us appear here in your submitted reports. Like this one that we sent is here, and the status is transferred from web, meaning it has been transferred to the FIU, the FIA. Okay. And this is the ref. That's why it's important to put a reference so you can always know from your end. You can also preview these reports that you've sent to us. Yes, please.
I have a request. Can we review a rejected report? Like that one
Yes,
I'm
please.
seeing there, and just have a little bit of just about it, a rejected report.
I will indicate to you.
Seen something like that. However, for example, I failed to understand the reason where it went from. The message comes.
Yes, you get it.
Must include.
Yes.
Yes, but like when you go into the report, sometimes you find that okay, for you, my understanding is that on the side of the inputter, you feel you put the information.
On the side of?
Me, the reporter, I feel like I put the information, but then it comes back and says the information too is not. So how can I just, is it possible that I can edit?
Yes.
Then
Yes.
send? Okay.
Yes. So once you've submitted this report here, there's this option to revert. So you see this report here, 14799. If I revert it, it comes back to my drafts. See, it's now here. Reverted, not submitted. Then I can click on this and adjust what is missing. And then you submit it. Okay. So if you have a report that is rejected, you just click on the rejected icon, revert it. It comes back to what you would call your draft reports. And then you can click on this. Yeah, and adjust it. Thank you for raising that image. So it's important. Doesn't mean you have to redo the report entirely, but you can just adjust that. Okay, so we can move on to the suspicious activity report. Okay, at least I see someone from Liberty has tried. All right, so I was saying I've seen Liberty has submitted one report. That's good. That shows one of you has picked up at least on this. So they're going to do a suspicious activity report. So we go back to new reports, web reports, and then we have the suspicious activity reports. And then we say create report. Now the suspicious activity report is like what you were mentioning earlier. Suspicious transaction, it's a transaction that has been identified to be out of the norm. While suspicious activity, like one of our colleagues earlier said, in this case, we are noticing this person buys the same product and same policy, then closes it out, comes back again, closes it out. So you notice the amounts may be small, but you notice this person is doing it repeatedly. So that is what we deem as suspicious activity. So we're just going to do an example of that, of a scenario where someone, we have noticed over time, this is the third time they are doing it, buying the same product and cashing out immediately, getting paid out or canceling the policy after three weeks after opening it on 3 separate occasions. Okay. So in this case, let's see. So head office, this is too, sorry. Yes, okay. A plant. It's always good to indicate as much detail as you can in your result. Let's say purchased policy. Purchase the policy number that. It says that's it in July 2022. Monthly. Let's have the actual dates. Let's say purchased it on 4th July. Cancelled it. The same John Doe purchased a policy now. 2023. 23. Let's say 2024. Yes. Again, purchase the policy now. Both any activity which is suspicious. Which is actually today. So, like you see, suspicious activity is a pattern has been generated This gentleman purchased in 2022, same figure, paid out. Just again in 2023, paid out, and has come back in 2024 with the same. Okay. So this is the reason why. So, like you said, in this case, you cannot ask him why he's doing this.
As long as he does it on time,
You can't really question.
yeah, within the time of the law, time limits of the law, and he has
Okay,
not
but
utilized.
all right, but in this case, we notice there's a bit of suspicious activity. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Reporting of STI.
okay. So once again, the attachments, like I mentioned, you attach all those details, the policies, the payout, documentation, identification details, the indicators, okay, it is structuring. Okay, any other indicator that you need, you can always let us know and we touch it. So in this case, we're just going to report John Doe. Significance is a scale of 1 to 10. How you rate this report you're sending us? I'll rate it as 9. And, so in this case, we are not going to capture the transaction. We have attached, we are just capturing, reporting trend with suspicious activity that we have seen as a pattern over time. So a suspicious transaction is a transaction that has ticked us off immediately. Well, activity, it's a pattern that we have seen. It's becoming we now deem it suspicious, and therefore we report it to the FIA. But we need to indicate the person and that we are person that is carrying out this activity. Now, whenever it's a person, we expect you to indicate the name, the nationality, the residence, if available, address information, and then phone detail. And that's it. So if I go back, we indicate the branch information, the reference, then we talk about this individual pattern, which we have deemed suspicious, and what we have done. And thereafter, the attachments. Because we need the identification, the policy information, the payout information, the relevant indicators, and we have also to give detail on this person we are reporting. And since we need the date of birth, nationality, NIN, address information, and phone information. Once again, if you do not have this other information, you leave them blank. Don't click on them. Otherwise, it will require you to enter that detail. And thereafter, you submit. Any questions on the suspicious activity? You are all okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Ivan. Yeah, you explain.
Yes, I had a question. I'm inquiring what happens in case the person that we are reporting about is not our client, so we may not have information in regards to their identity. How do we report such a case?
Okay, anyone on this call who can answer that? Are there events where someone may not be your customer?
I think I can go for that. I think
Yes,
the law
please.
says you must do due diligence by identifying the customers before you go into any transaction, be it a single transaction, be it multiple transaction. So you must identify the person before you enter into a formal relationship.
Ivan,
Okay, I think that.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
I think that the question was if the person, if the person who is being suspicious is not my client. I think when someone is not your client, it is none of your business. The only link is when that person is your client. Because when someone is not your client, however much you become suspicious, on what basis are you reporting them when they are not your client?
Okay, I think James has a point. It depends on the sector. I think, for example, the bankers, financial institutions like the forex bureaus don't onboard people. People walk in. You get it. People walk in and then they have to engage them to get their details. So there, I think there are scenarios whereby still something may be suspicious, but if the person if you didn't get their detail, maybe the transaction wasn't completed and you didn't get their detail. I think that's where those are the scenario where someone may not materially be your customer. But I think for this sector today, the insurance sector, for someone to purchase a policy, you must have onboarded them, I think. They must have filled in your KYC. I hope I'm right. Just like James was saying, they must have filled in, must have become your customer. So there's no scenario whereby you'll be reporting Ivan for suspicion, yet he's not in your system. Unlike our colleagues in the Forex Bureau sector, where for them, they're majorly walk-ins. And there may be a scenario where someone is going to perform a transaction, but when you ask for ID, they pull out. And you still want to report it. In that sense, maybe we just have the names and may not have the identification. Okay, any other comment, question? Yes, please.
This is maybe an inquiry to get clarification.
Yes.
What if maybe the question would be maybe for starters, when does the person become your customer? I'm imagining a situation, for example, you're in the process of maybe onboarding a client, you've obtained information. This client is not yet in your system, that you have assigned them a policy. However, in the process of onboarding them, you identify something suspicious to them. So is that your client or is that not your client? And if there's suspicion that you really feel needs to be reported, are you going to ignore because for you, you feel what you have identified is something that your risk appetite cannot accommodate? So you just let it go. You're like, okay, I've seen this issue with this client, but since I'm making up my mind that I'm not taking on this client, I just let them be. Or you can still go ahead and say, okay, however much I am not going to onboard this client, but what it is that I have noted is worth informing the FIA about.
Ivan, let me add on her question such that you answered once. In fact, where he asked that you are still in the process of onboarding the client, like I will give an example from our side here at Minet. We have a tool whereby we do due diligence before we onboard the client. Like when we put the client names, such that the tool searches to reconfirm whether that person is not linked to the persons named as part of the terrorist group. So like during that process of due diligence, if the name is linked to the sanctioned names, and we are not yet, we are still under the process of doing due diligence. How do we handle that kind of case? It's not yet our client, but we are suspicious that this prospect is really not the right one to deal with. Ivan, I submit, in addition to the earlier asked question.
Okay.
Ivan, you don't know whether it was clear.
Yes.
Okay.
I got you well.
Okay.
I was even expecting one of you to respond, but let me give my feedback on this. Yes, I think Machulet in her last statement answered it well. If you see an element of suspicion at the point of onboarding and you still do not onboard, but you have attained the person's enough information to report, please do report. Okay, please do report. But I request that you report it as suspicious activity because there's no transaction that took place. So that is just an activity, something you've noticed, and then you report. Yes. The narration could be that in the process of onboarding, you did your due diligence and found out that this person is ABCD, out of adverse media, was involved in a corruption scandal, but had brought this amount of money to invest it in, and because of our risk appetite or because of this, we couldn't take this person on. Then there are areas where someone is a PEP, and your risk appetite for PEPs is really, really low. Is it? What are those risk terms? When your appetite is high, you take the person on. When it's low, you have no appetite for it. You don't take the person on. Anyway, there are those risk terms. So depending on your risk appetite, so there you don't onboard me because I'm a PEP, politically exposed person, and the office I hold. And of course, I don't know whether in the insurance sector you are at liberty to choose whom to onboard or whom not to onboard without being sued by someone saying, but these guys are discriminating against me. I don't know how the law covers you in that sense. But if someone is a PEP, if someone is on a sanctioned list, and from your due diligence, you notice that and don't onboard them, there are those scenarios where you may not necessarily have to report. Because already he's on a sanctioned list, he's trying to, oh, it's a PEP. Really, why would you say so-and-so wanted to sign on with us? So it's a suspicious activity. In that sense, really not much. But in a sense that someone came and there are red flags that you got, did your due diligence, is involved in scandals and all that, and you're not onboarding him, you can still report that this what kind of money is trying to get into the insurance sector. So it's at your discretion. Even a sanctioned individual or a relation of a sanctioned individual and you're not onboarding, you could report. But like a PEP, no. But let me say, I'll leave it to your discretion. My colleagues from compliance seem to be engaged because I'd also need their feedback on this. But for now, let's say you report. Before they become your customer, you've done your due diligence, you report as a suspicious activity, just to flag the FIA that this kind of money is trying to get into financial system. But in my view, a PEP trying to get a policy with you, but your risk appetite cannot accommodate him, I think that shouldn't be deemed as suspicious, really. It's just in your policy that you're avoiding people of a certain caliber, and all that, maybe because of your risk appetite. And it's a position you're taking as an institution. So then there, you don't onboard the person, but really there's no suspicion about the person. It's just that your risk appetite can't take them on. Yeah, I hope that sort of gives it some clarity. But I'll request Kim also to note it down. And, but I think that basically covers it. So James and Immaculate, I hope that is clear. Okay. So I'm just going to talk about additional information file, then we break off for 15 minutes, and then we'll resume and look at our last bit, which will be the large cash transaction reporting, and how the file, how we generate that file that we have to show our technical teams. And that's why I want, if possible, during this 15 minutes break, those who are not registered on the system, please register on so that we can approve, and at least you can try out filling in a large cash report so that you can generate that file that we are going to give our technical teams and tell them, instead of me capturing data one by one, if our data is already in the system, it can be generated into this similar format. This is how it is structured. And they can just give you that file every week so that you can upload it onto the system. So we'll use this break to ensure all those who are not been able to log on to the test environment can create their organizations, and we approve them so that for this next session, everyone is able to create a sample file, sample transaction. So I'll just speak about additional information files before we break off for the 15 minutes break. When the FIA, oh, I hadn't submitted this. Okay. When the FIA writes to you, you'll get a message on the message board. Most times, because you've sent us a suspicious transaction or suspicious activity report, or most times when we receive the information, intelligence information, and we want further information from you. So we write to you requesting for that information, and we expect you to submit that information via what you'd call an additional information file. So similarly, you create it just the same way, fill in this information, but the letter you have received from FIA, you have the reference number. We expect you to capture that reference number here. Okay, to be FIA ED something or DAM something. So you capture that reference number here. Our major interest are the attachments. Right. So these attachments here, we request you to put in all the information that we have requested for statements, identifications, and any other detail that we request you to have to attach. We expect it here. So we do not expect anything to do with indicators, reasons, actions. There will be no need for that. And then here you just indicate the biodata detail of the customer we have, asked about the names, the birth date, the nationality, residence, NIN, just like you saw before, address information and phone number. Okay. So for additional information file, key thing is you must indicate the reference of the letter you received, attach all the documents we requested for, no need for indicators, no need for reason or action, leave these blank, and just the biodata detail on the person we asked about. And that's it. Okay. They will be very rare, but they do come through if the investigation leads that way.
Ivan?
Yes, please.
Still, you just reminding me, in the beginning, you said when a notice message come in the inbox on the system,
yes,
does it also give you a notice on the official email you used?
Yes, yes. You get an alert.
You get an alert, eh?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Thanks for clarity.
But like I said, at least on a daily, you can check the message board.
So it is prudent to
log in.
always log
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
it's
check.
prudent. Just check.
Okay.
You know, with email alerts and time systems, but 90%,
okay.
95% of the time, you should have an alert that there's a message for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
At the
Ivan.
time, the notices are not requests for information. At times, it's communication from us on some requirements we need you to adhere to. So it's always important to check on a daily, even though you don't get the alert.
In fact, Ivan, I wanted to refer to our regulator, IRA. They have tried their level best to get the correct emails, such that when there is official information they are passing on, it normally comes to the official email we provided. I request that if you could also have that email system updated, such that all the time when there is an official communication that needs to be sent to all the accountable persons, it is really received on time, so that we do not miss out and end up victims of breach.
Okay, understood. But you see, unlike a regulator on our side, this is self-registration. We basically approve based on the documentation, due diligence, and all that. But contact information is provided by you. So if you, James, put in a wrong email address, so just to say, when you're registering in a production environment, put in the correct email address. If they change, you still even have the ability to edit them. Okay. If you can see here under the organization details here, I can go ahead and edit information on. Oh, sorry, it's under active organizations. Okay. I don't have rights to. I'll just confirm that. Okay, I don't know if anyone can see maybe my right. Rights are different, but there should be an element here that allows you to adjust an email address of the organization you have. Just confirm. Okay, I'll just check it out. All right, so let's break off 15 minutes. We should be back just about what 52 minutes to be 8 minutes to midday. Remember, we close at 12:30, so we'll have 30 minutes time. Just 8 minutes to midday. Let's break off a bit. We'll have ample time to cover large cash. So within this break, those who haven't registered, register. We approve your account so that we move together after a short break. Thank you. Okay, our break is done. Are we all in? Hello?
Ivan, surprisingly, I failed to log into the test environment.
I failed to log in. But we had a 15-minute break. We were all quiet. I thought we were.
It's what I was trying to do, obviously, my dear.
Which institution?
AR.
You failed to register.
No, when it comes to the test, yes. So I went, I've
You're
been on,
supposed to register. That's
I'm
what
already,
I'd said.
it's okay, it's well.
All right, you're supposed to register. Because you don't have an account on the test. So maybe since this is a recorded session, you just follow through after, create a sample file like you've done, and then you can circulate it.
For me, Ivan, I completely failed. Though I filled in all the details, but the system is still telling me I cannot submit.
I think that's my same issue. However, at least I recorded the session, so maybe I'll.
You cannot submit the registration.
Yes, somewhere
What's the
down
error?
here, cannot submit until the form is complete. But I've input all the
Is everything
information.
green on the left?
No, it is a step
If
number
there's a
3 is the
red,
one.
if
Step
there's
number
a
3 is
red,
the only, yes.
then you go to where the red is.
There is no red, Ivan.
On yours,
Also, that was my same issue.
everything is green on the left.
Yeah.
And when you submit, you're supposed to put in some code, capture code. Did
Some
you put that in?
No, because I could not submit, go to the next level until that thing is that comment is off.
Which comment?
The one of you have not filled in.
Cannot submit until the
Yes.
form is complete. And yet I input all the information.
Can one of you share your screen? I see what you're saying.
Actually, that's what I was requesting. They should share their screen and the other request.
Yeah, because registration really, there's something that's off. Can just spare 5 minutes to look. Have you shared?
Submit. I've been able
You've
to
been able to
submit.
submit. Okay.
Send me credentials. It could be that they've not done some attachment, a test attachment.
No, there's no need for an attachment. So test, there's no attachment requirement. So any of you ready to share your screen? This is why having the challenge. Because I've seen the Jubilee Life, Jubilee Health. That one has come through. Done by Francis. So Francis, you can log in. So I'm wondering where other colleagues are getting stuck. Oh no. Yeah, there's a red on administrator. That's what I was saying. Is everything green? Go to administrator. There's a red there.
All right, this is okay. Now let me finish this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I was saying. Is there a red? You see, computers never lie.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you.
Kale. So wherever there's a red, thank you for bringing this up. Whenever, even the forms you're filling in, when there's a red on the left, it means that section still has an issue that you have to resolve before you submit. Everything has to be green. Let's give Phoebe, I think 2 minutes. Good enough for you to complete. Julius, maybe also share your screen, or if you've seen what Phoebe has displayed, maybe you can also tell where your issue is. Julius? Okay, so let's give Phoebe 2 minutes. And then so that we're on the same page. What happened?
Let's share the screen on Zoom.
There should be something on the bottom share screen there.
This one. Our window. Here. Here. So the one which I want to share is the one I choose. Yes, I share. Hello?
Yes.
Ivan.
Same
That is
issue.
my-
You
that
haven't
is my-
filled in everything. You haven't filled in everything.
Now, which one is missing? As if I have filled in.
You see, why do you have two addresses? Delete one of them.
This one?
Down there are two addresses. That's what I kept mentioning. Only add what you need. Down there, I see address 1, address 2. Delete the first
Okay.
one. The first one.
Oh.
Okay, delete the second or the first one, because now you deleted the one that you had filled in. So fill in that first address. Then even under administrator, there's something you haven't finished. Click on address 1 and fill it in.
Address 1 here.
No. It's already there. You're adding so many. You only need one.
Okay.
Unless you have very many addresses. So just go back and delete the ones you don't need. Remain with only one.
Okay.
The addresses.
Okay. Maybe the fact that we've recorded, as you said, I will do the testing following that.
No, but we haven't recorded how to register. So if you fail to register, then you can't. Just delete those addresses.
Like this one?
No. So you're deleting the phones. The address, where it's address, is what you need to delete.
Okay.
Are you seeing address 1,
Yes,
address 2, address 3?
Yes, there is address 1 here.
Delete everything until you're left with only one.
Like I delete here?
Yes. Delete that one. Even that, delete.
Even this one.
Remain with only fill in that one now.
Yeah. How about this one?
That one is okay. The phones are okay.
Okay.
Fill in your address, go to administrator, there are details you haven't filled in, fill them in, and you're okay. So go to
before let's first check the administrator. Maybe you can also guide me.
The name has to be 1.
The name as in here, or you
name,
see?
that name there, James Dungu. It's a username. Has to be one word.
One word.
Be 2, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Then here, address, you have again 2 addresses. Delete the second one.
Like this, eh? It can be like this.
Delete the second. Yeah, you can do it like. That's okay. That's very okay. Don't forget it. Username.
Yes.
Address 2, delete that.
Address 2.
That one, delete it. You don't need it.
Okay.
Even the phone, scroll down. You haven't captured the phone details. Capture the phone. So capture the phone details under administrator. Under reporting entity, capture the address details. Then you submit.
Okay. I think now I can deactivate the sharing.
Yes.
Okay,
okay? Want to move on to large cash?
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you.
You have submitted?
Yes.
But I see you haven't submitted.
No, I need an email for someone who is in a meeting, so it's well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. But test environment, you really don't need to have the live information. All right, so let's proceed. Let me share my screen. Proceed to handle. So you just go to new reports, web reports. Yeah, new reports, web reports, and then you choose a large cache. So hope you know what large cache transactions are. Anything
In
that's
the
20
next-
million.
Okay. I think I wanted to begin there that I will share guidance on what a large cache is. And then maybe as you share it, you already saying it is anything above 20. Now for us in the insurance, for example, the amounts, there are not so many amounts because in the banks there are quite many thousands. And now here we probably have over maybe an average of 50. But of those 50, there are certain transactions such as salaries, such as, basically salaries. There are certain amounts, certain types of transactions, which could be over 20, but probably do not qualify. So maybe you also guide on what type or which
Sorry,
exact
come again.
type
I lost you somewhere.
yes, which exact type of transactions must be recorded under this?
Everything you do.
Everything.
Are there
Salary,
transactions
for
that
example, salaries.
but no, I'm talking about what you interface between you and your customer.
And the customer. How about
Yes. Do you do
taxes?
salaries? Do you do salaries for people? For your
No,
customers?
that's basically for staff. That's basically for staff.
Yes.
But that
Concentrate
is
on your customers.
on the customers. Okay.
Yes.
How about to people like URA, the WHT, then maybe VAT, those
No,
amounts.
URA is off. We have a guidance that puts URA off. Just a minute. Hello. Yes, there's guidance that URA is exempted, I think. I hope everyone has got that. Thank you for raising it. I think URA is exempted. Any other area? Was it Francis asking?
Basically, that was it. URA and then the staff payments for the agents.
Staff, no, staff, no. So,
okay. But I believe the agent commissions, those have to be paid. Right?
Yeah, those
have to be shared, brother.
Those have to be shared.
Yeah, so it was.
So let me just see. This was a guidance. If you see at the bottom here, these things, utility, umeme, URA, ATV, float accounts. Those have to be rejected. Those shouldn't be reported. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's proceed to yeah. So for the large cache, I once again say head office. So if I'm moving fast or if I leave anyone behind, please let me know. So
Ivan, I submitted. I don't know that you can approve me now.
that's good. Let's, minutes. So it's approved. A minute, you can now log in.
Thank you.
We move together. So moving fast, you let me know so that. But it's the same procedure as the STR. So, oh, sorry. Like I said, these reporting entry references, it's up to you to decide the format, but it's generated internally. So for large cache, we don't need to put a reason or action. These are only for suspicious transactions and suspicious activities. Okay, so we just need the reporting entry branch, reporting entry reference. We don't need attachments. We don't need indicators. Okay, I'll repeat that. We're only capturing the entry branch in the reference. We don't need attachments. We don't need indicators. We don't need a reason. We don't need an action. So I'm going straight to the transaction.
Ivan, sorry, on the bit of first go back to the report header. On the bit of reporting entity reference, is it that reference that we have now? I think it is FIA, like ours is 360. FIA dash 360. Is it that one? Or we have to create this?
These are internal to you. How do you reference your documents? Imagine you are sending this to us in hard copy. How would you reference it? Yeah. Just helps you track on your end.
Actually given a guidance here.
Okay. So straight to transactions. There's this button here. Add by party. So generate a number there. Internal reference number can be the transaction ID. So you're going to do two transactions. One is a payout. One is a, what do you call when a customer buys a policy and brings in money? Is that a pay-in?
It's a premium.
A premium.
That is a pay-in. A pay-in.
Payment, it could be a payment, a premium.
Okay. So we are going to do a premium payment and then a payout. Okay. Two examples. Large cash.
I did exactly what this
Transmod code, so wire trans. Most of them do banks and mobile money.
Yes, most of them are banks.
You don't allow cash anymore.
No.
Okay. So remember, it's 20 million and above. Yes, please.
So it has to be for each item.
A question. Why did we select that that arrow that's double and then the other one?
Not which one?
When you went to transactions.
I'm here.
Here there is add by party.
And
then this other one. This one is inactive, or it is that we always have to come to add by party.
You always come there if you're adding transactions. Okay, that answers it. All right. So description, we said premium payment. Purpose of the transaction. So premium payment means money is moving from person who's your customer. Okay. So they're using EFT
Pardon me, Ivan.
Yes, please.
I think you have left me somewhere. Up the other side to the number. That number.
You can generate it here. You generate it here. But this is your transaction ID. You can capture it here and here.
It could be a
Down
policy
to-
number.
Exactly. No, policy number is the same. But you need to have, like, each time I pay, there is a transaction number. So that when I come for my statement, you can say you paid on January this,
On that
February
reference,
this, March, yeah, something like that.
Transaction reference.
Yeah, like a transaction reference, transaction ID. So that when you're giving me my statement, you can show me that you paid on this date, this amount.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
can we use, like, if it is EFT, payment is by EFT, can we use something like some of the EFT transaction number?
Basically,
like
what
that?
I'm saying is, when I come to you, you give me a statement of my payments or payouts, or you give me my statement. Each figure on my statement must be uniquely identified by an ID. I don't know if that makes sense.
Like how we have a check number whereby each check
So
receipt.
whether it's the EFT number, whether it's an internal system number, but as long as you can identify that transaction unique, what identifies it uniquely? If Ivan has 10 transactions, transaction 1 has ID 23, transaction 2, 24, like that. So some are premiums, some are payouts.
Okay,
And
okay,
they are
noted.
normally system generated.
Yeah, they are usually system generated.
Okay, noted, Ivan.
All right. So now, like I said, you're always capturing the So now you have the names of the person, the birth date, the name, the nationality, residence. These are what we require
Ivan, just a
mainly.
Ivan,
Even the gender, if you have it. Yes.
just a bit up. Did you click on so I'm trying here to save from. So from I select account.
From my client.
Here, what
Accounts are for banks.
Account or
For
my
banks. When
I
you're
come and
taking the
select.
premium payments, that means money is moving from customer to you, the institution. Your customer is the person, so it's person, my client.
Person, my client.
Insurance, you deal with people. You deal with companies?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you
have
also
some
deal
corporate.
with, you deal with, you deal with companies.
There's also
also.
corporate business.
Yeah,
I think
so
most
we'll
people
do an
are
example also of the company by now.
Okay.
That's good, you brought it out. So you don't deal with accounts are for banks.
Yes.
So your system is basically dealing with institutions or persons. And all are your customer. Never choose person, it has to be person, my customer. Entity, my client. Person, my client. Okay. So you know the gender, the names, the birth date, the name, the nationality, the residence. Then we can capture now the address details. And maybe the phone details. And that's it. The rest of the other information we don't need. So from here, we are saying money is moving from my client person. We put in the gender, the names, birth date, the name, the resident, the nationality, address details, and the phone details. And we are done. We're now going to where the money is going to. Since it's a premium payment, it's coming to our insurance company. Okay. So we choose entity my client. Okay, maybe let me wait here. Everyone who's capturing information, have you finished the from my client person? Before I go to
Not yet.
the entity which is being, you need a moment?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me just give you 1 minute. Then we move to where the money is going to.
Ivan. 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 Ivan, can you hear me?
Okay, so we go on to my client entity, EFT. So this is my insurance. This is the name of your insurance company. The Jubilee, be Prudential, any of those. The private limited. Operation numbers from your incorporation certificates. Address of the company. Phone details. Like I said, let's only work with what we have. You do not need to fill in things to do with entity-related persons, emails. We only deal with what we have. Yes, yes.
Okay, then that brings me to the point that because I was worried about the needs, I'm just trying to look at trying to look at the point where you always have to go back and look for fancy certificate in your database to get their name, if they are giving you money or money is going to him. That bit of the phone number, that bit of the name, because previously in that other Excel that we've been sharing, for those that have been sharing, I think the details that were basically required were the location of the customer. Yeah, basically that was what was required. So, but now here with the standardized reporting, what do you advise on that bit of the phone number? And of course, the address may be, most of them may be within Kampala, but now the name and the phone number, especially that they are probably mandatory fields that have to be filled in the goAML. That is for individuals. That is for individuals. Then companies, I think we are going to go there. You're going to take us through. But for individuals.
Well, individuals, you must, like I said, what we are doing here is the data entry element. But at the
Yes.
end of it all, we are going to I'm going to show you where. That's why I wanted everyone to try it out, so that you're going to download a file that you're going to now share with your technical team, because this process is best when it's automated. Otherwise, the manual bit, if you're having more than 10 transactions every week, is a bit tedious. Yeah.
My concern, exactly my concern. When you have so many transactions, how do you handle?
Yes. That's why we are doing this sample. You download at the end of it, we are going to download. So everyone will now have a sample of their own, which they can share with their technical teams and say, look, the FIA system requires this file to be uploaded. So I'm going to share also the technical documentation so that your technical teams, IT teams, in charge of your systems can then see how to generate that file out of your systems so that it's uploaded to us on a weekly. But they need to see a sample of it. That's why we are going through this exercise. Otherwise, doing one by one is if there are 5, okay, even 10, but more than 10 is tedious. Yes.
Kindly repeat that for me. The IT team, why we are doing this is that we are going to generate something that we are going
we are going to generate we just hand it to them together with technical documentation and say the goAML system requires an XML file upload. And this is a sample of how that file looks like.
So when
and
we
they'll take it up
for
from.
example, when we are done with this, whatever we are inputting, the 2 examples that we are doing, when we submit, we are going to give them that report.
We are going to reach there. I think explaining it is not as easy as showing it to you and stuff. So let's complete this. Then after this, I'll show you where you download the file that you show them.
Right, Ivan, we can proceed.
Okay. So yes, so for the company, once you finish the address details, sorry, for the entity, finish the address details, we now go to capture one of the directors. This person information again. Person information, like I said, is the birth date. Birth date, nationality, name, residence. You can also capture the address, okay, the phone number maybe of the director, because the address may be the same as the phone, as the company address. Okay, so for the company, I'll go back to the beginning. It's just the company information, the business they're in, corporation number, then the address details of the company, the phone contact of the company. Then we need one of the directors. So you capture personal information, recall personal information. You can give us the gender, but the name is required, the birth date, the name, the nationality, and residence. And you can also add the phone number. And there we are done with the first transaction. So are we all there before we capture now the second transaction?
Ivan, I had an inquiry.
Make sure everything on your left is green before we go to the second transaction. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to just inquire that does it have to be the director only, or I can choose the chief executive?
You can choose the CEO. CEO is okay. So let me just give you 2 minutes to fill that in, make sure everything is green, then we enter the second transaction.
Nice. So you did get that password. Eh? Why don't you give you the password and put it in? So that is, he needs to sign in for me password. Yeah.
Ivan, I have submitted. I don't know whether I can see it on your end.
Yep. Did you see that? That's a scanned copy.
Ivan, can you see my report submitted?
Well done. Okay, let's proceed.
Ivan, I was inquiring if you have seen my report submitted at your end.
We are still doing a second transaction. We already submitted it.
No, this part, the first one that we have.
No, we can't see it
Said once
until
we
you
agree.
submit it. Oh yeah, we can't. Whatever. We submit at a go. As well, I thought you had submitted it. So let's do the second one. Should be much easier now. Second one is a payout to another company. So we click on this again, transactions, add by party. And then now generate again, ID, transfer, this time maybe 50 million shillings. It's a payout, corporate entity. So now, since they are both entities, it's going to be from entity my client to entity my client. So that means money is coming from your insurance company. So EFT. Now, we're not going to, since we already captured our insurance company, we're not going to type that information again. We're simply going to click on this blue here, select my insurance company, and the detail will appear. I'll repeat this. Since we already captured, money is moving from our insurance to another entity, we're just going to click on this blue here, select my insurance company, and it will populate all these details about my insurance company up to the very detail. Okay. Has everyone got that? Is that clear? So we have captured the ID information, amount, date, purpose of the transactions, the payout. Then we used this button to select the company, our insurance, because we already captured the days. I mean the details, and then we populated it automatically. So now all that's left is to capture the company that we are paying to, the institution we are paying to. So it's still entity my client. And this will be my company. It's a company we're paying to. So it's in construction. So same way you filled in your insurance company details, we are going to fill in for now an institution we are paying out. So since they are customer, we expect you to have all this detail on them.
Sir Ivan,
Yes, please.
incorporation number, what do they need in a particular?
That's certificate of incorporation, that incorporation number.
Okay. Okay.
So, the only program.
The address. See. Pick one director. So here again on the director, we can use an existing person, just the blue, so that we don't have to capture all the detail again. And all that information is there, and everything is green now. So I'll just go back the first to the second company we created, to my client entity, put in the company details, corporation form, the address details, phone details, director. I just picked one of an existing person, John Doe, and all his detail came. And that's it. So once everything is green here, you can submit. So any questions? Let me just give you 2 minutes to submit, and then I show you the file that your tech team will need to look at. Okay, so if everything is green, you will submit. Let's take a bit of time. And after you've submitted, you go to your submitted reports, web reports, submitted reports, web reports. And here is where you'll find your transaction that you submitted. You can preview it using the eye there, or you download it in the format I was speaking about, XML format. Okay. Once you download it in the XML format, just a minute. Download it. Yeah, here it is. Once it's downloaded, you can open it. Are we still together? It looks something like this. You don't need to understand it. It's just that it contains the detail or the format in which we expect. It's a sample of what we expect. Okay. So that file that you've downloaded is what you share with your IT. I'll also be sharing with you the technical documentation that you keep them. Okay. What is my session expired? Yes, please.
Ivan.
Yes.
That is now understood. Now, when is this supposed to take effect? Because I know that from that point of generating that XML with our IT people, and of course, I don't know about other players, but we may not necessarily have some of those resources quickly adjust to the system in terms of the XML and how the report should look like. So what are you guys looking at to take this into effect?
Right now, it's just the awareness, making sure you get the necessary support. By the way, if your tech teams need some clarifications, we are available, mail, phone, and even through a brief session like this. But okay, we do not basically take them through how to develop it. We just explain or get to know where their challenges are. Because once they look at the file, they'll then understand the requirement. That's the technical documentation. Our expectation is that they should understand our requirement. You only come in just to clarify. There's no deadline at the moment, but the earlier you get this done, the better for you. So that a deadline doesn't come. Usually they give you about 2 to 3 months. And it depends on our executive. But once he knows you've been trained, and it could give you between a month or 2, but usually on average it's been 2 to 3 months to put it into effect. So right now, if you have the information, it's best to start on it so that you don't, a deadline is issued, and at least you have more ample time to do the tests and comply, rather than being in panic mode. So there's no cutoff time right now, but I'd just like to encourage you to start on the process and get this done. The sooner the better for you.
Ivan.
Yes, please.
So you've said that after getting that report that we have there, so we are going to have to save it and then send it to the IT team.
Yeah, together with the documentation I'm going to share, the technical documentation I'm going to share.
Then we are going to have to explain to them.
There's nothing to explain to them. Basically, you're saying there's an FIA platform that requires an XML. upload. This is the sample file. We study it. Then this is the technical documentation. If you have any questions, we can still get you in touch with file. It's not you to answer the questions, really. You can refer them to us if they have any questions. But we do not basically take them through how to develop it. We only respond to queries that they have once they have started doing the customization of the development.
A technical
Yes.
IT side.
Yes, if they have any questions. But we are not the ones to come on site or to start developing this for you now. It is them to do it. That's why we have created a sample file for them. Maybe they come back to you to say, okay, fine, give us a scenario where payout is being made between a company and a company, or a person, like things like that. That's when you come back to the system, enter the data, and then download that file for them. Maybe that's where you come in. But right now, once they have the sample file and the technical documentation I'm going to share on mail, they should be good to go.
Okay.
So I want to talk about aggregated large cache as our last bit today. We're not going to do a sample of it, but basically just to mention that 20 million and above is a large cache. But if a transaction happens within a day, I don't know how often, if it's possible that it can happen, but if a transaction happens within a day, then that means, let's say 10 million was paid out to the same person or the same company within that day. Then again, the same company received another 10 million in the afternoon. So within a day, it then gets to 20 million, which is now hitting the threshold for the law. So you report them as aggregated because it shows that within a day, someone has received 10 and then another 10. And so we are aggregating it to 20 million. So I don't know if there are scenarios where,
Would
yes,
that
please.
apply to, for example, a customer who has like maybe 5 policies, and maybe their premium payment one is maybe 7 million.
Yes, because it's one person. Are you able to identify that it's the same person?
Yes. Same person, but different policy numbers.
Yes, please.
Same person, but different policy numbers. Like the person has maybe like 4 policies, and or 3 or 2 even, but maybe one of their premium is maybe one is like maybe 10 million, then the other one is maybe like 6, then the other one is maybe like 4.
Yeah, basically, okay. If your systems are able to track the same individual and the different policies, and he pays in 20 million and above for each policy, so then we'll expect you to report those as aggregated. Or if you pay him out for different policies in a single day, remember, single day.
Yeah.
If you pay Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's different. But if on Monday, you're paying out to Ivan 10, then another 10, then another 10, then you aggregate that and you report it. So the structure is the same as the large cache. The difference is the amounts now are different. They're not hitting 20 million and above. It's a series of transactions that are hitting the 20 million mark and above.
Since the reporting is weekly, and I've generated the report, for example, for last week. So even when I'm looking at that particular period of 5 or 7 days, and this person has maybe on different days of that same week, those are not aggregated. It should be maybe like a particular Wednesday of last week, but that day, those so many transactions equating to 20 and above.
Yeah, in a day. Okay, in a day. So they have to happen in a day. So for example, I have 4 policies. I'm cashed out, okay, I pay in a premium of 50 million for 4 policies. Now, 3 policies is 10, 10, 10. So when aggregated, it's 30 million. 1 policy is 20. So the policy of 20 would go to the large cash report. These policies of 10, I would expect to see them in the aggregated. Let me repeat that. If I pay to you 50 million, but split into 4 policies. So if one of the policies is taking 20 million, then that goes into large cash. Then the other 3, I add them up, they hit 20 million mark and above, so I report them as aggregated. Okay, but remember it's within a day. I don't know how often it happens, but if someone has amounts below 20 million, but within a day when you sum them up, either pay in or pay out, they hit 20 million and above, you report as aggregated. It's not a summation of paying and payout, but a summation of one side, either pains or payouts. What I'll request in terms of automation, you start with the large cash. Once it's completed and it's done well, then you can go to do the aggregated so that you don't confuse the tech team. Okay, so I think we are 20 minutes past our anticipated completion time. I don't know if there are any other questions, comments, or remarks. I'll share the recording and the technical documentation on email. I don't know if there are any other questions.
Yes, Ivan.
Yes, please.
Now that we have gone through this practical bit to this level. So if I wanted to try on the side of large cash, to try on the side of large cash transaction reporting. So do I have to do it in the test environment or production environment?
Test environment is for trainings, trying out tests, while the production environment, that is for actual submissions to us.
And then also now that we have learned to this level, when you provide that documentation, and then maybe my IT team has like they've understood maybe. So what then will happen if I want to submit in that using that method? For example, maybe let's say maybe next week, if my IT team says they are okay, they've packed what is required, so then what will happen when it comes to my actual reporting next week? Giving just an example.
You're saying if they manage to customize and they generate the file for you?
Yes.
Yeah, you upload it under new reports, XML uploads.
Okay.
Actually, that's a very good question. Let me show it to you. Under here, new reports, XML upload. This is where you come and you select the file you want to upload, and you can upload it.
Let me see again.
Okay. Then you can also tell IT about the XML validate. Well, no, this one they'll find out themselves. It's what validates the files they create to make sure that they're okay.
So does that mean that they are also going to need?
Yeah, they need access. They need access. Yeah, to try out. Because the validation element of the system also sits here. And the new reports, yeah. When they create a sample file, they can validate it here. For example, the one we just created, if I validate it here, let me just open it. I don't know which one it is. If it's this one. If I copy and paste it there, And validate, it should say succeeded, meaning the file is okay. All right, thank you for that, Immaculate. I think at least it out showing people where you can upload the reports. And if there are many, it can be uploaded as zip files. Okay, 1 point we were 20, now we are 13. Then a number of us have dropped off. Thank you
Ivan,
for, yes, please.
can you please help us with your number? Just
The
in
what?
case we wanted to, with your number, just in case we wanted to make some inquiries.
Okay, let me share it on the chat.
Okay.
Shared it on the chat. Okay, so thank you for being proactive, requesting for this. I think it was David Gavis. Fortunately, I couldn't make the meeting, but this
Ivan,
number of you now.
we asked for this from last year in December, if you may remember.
Last year,
So it
December.
was coming. Yes, so it was towards the end of the year.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
finally
so
it's been pulled off.
okay. So thank you for pushing for that to happen. I know for James's case, the brokers, let me just confirm here. There's supposed to be a session for you in March. The same. Just a minute.
Ivan.
Meeting next week.
Yes.
The meeting next week.
Ivan.
There's that session that is supposed to be where Silver Springs, something like that.
It could be something else, but I know for the insurance brokers. Okay. For insurance brokers and non-life insurance companies, end of March or early April. Should
Ivan,
be
does it mean that for brokers it is a different thing altogether, or it is the same thing only that?
Same thing, but we usually separate you because of the different business that you do. So some of the reporting requirements slightly differ. Yes. Because a broker, I don't know whether you deal with individuals.
Yeah, we
do. Yeah. Individuals. Anyway, there's the way the business is done. Because for example, the insurance company is reporting that they have sent. So we also need to understand from the brokers, then there's the general insurance, the products you do. So I think for the life insurance, those were taken through. So we are left with the insurance brokers and non-life. So that will be I think, end of March and beginning of April.
So you have not yet,
We'll communicate through your regulator.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, communicate through your IRS. Work with the IRS on this.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, especially those who have really taken it upon themselves to try out and submit some sample files. I want to thank you for that. With Nick, I think, Nick Life, Liberty, Jubilee, Britam, all submitted some sample files, so thank you. I believe that will help you improve on utilization of this platform, and when the deadlines come, you should be at least way ahead. Once the deadlines are passed, or even before they are passed, you should be compliant. Thank you for your time. Yeah, now any further comments, I request to close the session. I'll share the recording via the same email. Yeah.
Ivan?
Thank you so much.
When are you sharing the recording?
It it goes to the cloud, then it organizes itself. Once I get the link from Zoom themselves, then I send. But that take more than 15 minutes from now. Once I get it, then I'll share it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Ivan,
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Mm.
As we work on setting this up with our IT teams, should we
Yes.
continue sharing the weekly reports on email in
Yes.
case it takes some time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please. Remain compliant to the avenues you've been using until
Okay.
such a time when you can fully migrate to the system. Be compliant by the system.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Ivan.
Welcome.